Welcome to r/Am I the Jerk, where Karen pulls the worst prank imaginable on her boyfriend. Am I the jerk for breaking up with my girlfriend because of a caught cheating prank? I, 26 male, broke up with my girlfriend who's 25 of 2 years because of something that happened recently, and now my friends are saying I massively overreacted. So a few days ago, my girlfriend and a close mutual friend decided to play a prank on me. The prank was that they filmed a scenario where I caught them pretending to be cheating with each other. They set up a hidden camera, and when I walked in, to make it more realistic, they even made noises and tried to act like it was happening for real. I was shocked, furious, and immediately confronted them as I thought it was real at first, like an actual betrayal. And then I walked out of the room and started leaving the house when they followed me screaming that it was just a prank and they showed me the video. To be honest, I felt completely betrayed. I know it's meant to be funny to some people, but for me, it just felt disrespectful and I was hurt. The whole thing just felt like a violation of trust, even though I know they weren't actually cheating. I told her I couldn't be in a relationship with someone who would do something like that, and I ended things right then and there. She's devastated, and our friends have been telling me that I overreacted. They think it was just a harmless prank, and I should have taken it better. But I can't shake the feeling that it crossed a line for me. Now I'm left wondering if I made the right decision. I'm starting to doubt myself because everyone else seems to think I blew it out of proportion. Edit. She wants me to watch the video to prove it was a setup and planned, but I feel she doesn't get that I'm upset about her disregard and disrespect for me in our relationship. Update. My ex-girlfriend was really upset with all the hate she received online and blamed me for painting her in a bad light. I told her I did no such thing. She just didn't like that she got called out for her behavior. The mutual friend who was part of the prank is now also upset with me and saying I went way overboard. I told them both to buzz off and I blocked their numbers. Our friends have since started taking things more seriously after reading some of the comments on here, with a few taking my side and saying what my girlfriend and our friend did was horrible. Others still think this was all unnecessary and I should have just laughed it off and moved on. Not the jerk. How does your girlfriend of 2 years not know you well enough to know that you'd not find this funny? Like, even if you prank all the time with each other, she should know you and what you would find funny. If you're not laughing, it's not actually a prank. It's just them hurting you and then blaming you for being hurt. You made the right decision. Other people don't get to decide what sort of prank goes past your line for pranks. If your ex-girlfriend really was devastated, maybe you should learn that trying to pull elaborate pranks can backfire on her and she won't do it to other people in the future. Not the jerk. My girlfriend rejected my proposal because it didn't meet her expectations. So my girlfriend and I have been together for 6 years, and over Thanksgiving weekend, I decided to surprise her with a week-long trip to Hawaii with the intention of proposing there. I even went as far as asking her parents for their blessing, and I showed them the ring a few days before we left. We've talked about getting married before, and both of us have always been on the same page. Marriage is something we've always agreed on. The thing is, she's had this grand vision of a proposal, like the ones you see on TikTok or Instagram. Big, marry me letters on the beach, rose petals, lights, mariachi, the whole shebang. Honestly, I was totally fine with doing that for her if it would make her happy. The problem was, pulling off a proposal like that in Hawaii just wasn't feasible given the resources and time constraints. We booked the trip on super short notice just 5 days before we left, after she sent me a bunch of vacation videos from Hawaii, which sparked the idea in the first place. I thought this would be a great opportunity to propose, even if it wasn't exactly how she had envisioned it. On the day we arrived, I carried the ring in my pocket all day, waiting for the perfect moment to ask her. I knew it wouldn't be some elaborate beach proposal, but I figured given the situation, she'd still be happy. Unfortunately, we ended up having some completely unnecessary arguments, and I decided to hold off on proposing since the mood wasn't right. The second day, we had a reservation to go parasailing, so I left the ring back at the hotel because I didn't want to risk losing it. By the time we got back around 5 p.m., it was already starting to get dark. She'd mentioned before that she'd always dreamed of a sunset proposal, so I knew this was my only shot. Unfortunately, I missed it. We still went out for dinner and drinks, but everything was a bit off between us. We came back to the hotel, and after a long, eventful day, she was tired and so was I. I convinced her to go on a night walk with me to the beach around 10:30 p.m. This was my last chance to propose. We reached the beach, and the city was still alive. Lights from the buildings and streets, the bright moon, and the beautiful ocean in front of us. It was peaceful and intimate. We stood there hugging and kissing, and both of us could feel how special the moment was. I started to tell her how much I loved her and how I wanted to be with her for the rest of my life. As I was reaching into my pocket for the ring, she stopped me. "I hope you're not about to propose to me right now. This isn't what I expected." she said. My heart just dropped. I stood there, speechless, before turning around and walking back to the hotel. I wasn't in the mood to talk about it, so I told her we'd discuss it the next day. The following day we talked, and she made it clear she still wanted me to propose, but this time the right way, under a sunset. I told her I couldn't do that because she had already rejected me. She argued that she didn't actually reject the proposal, it was just that the circumstances weren't what she had imagined. We spent the next 4 days in Hawaii in this really tense state. Even when we returned home, things didn't feel any different. The night after we got back, she went to sleep at her parents' place. Now she's back home, and I just don't feel comfortable being there with her anymore. So, what can come of this situation? I honestly didn't want things to go down this way during our vacation, but it feels like there's no turning back now. Can I even move past this? Is it valid for me to not want to be with her anymore because of how everything went down? I also don't feel right about trying to redo the proposal since she already rejected me once. Update. So we had another conversation about it once she came back from her parents. She's still adamant that I failed to meet her expectations. Admittedly, I understand I didn't do any of the things she had visualized. I want to emphasize that we're young, and the proposals she's seen on social media are nothing but trends. These proposals have become popular in maybe the last year or two. Prior to that, she told me she wanted an intimate proposal, especially something away from the public eye. People are telling me I'm wrong because I knew exactly what she wanted and didn't deliver. She also insists that a proposal is solely about the female and what she wants. I think that's BS. I've told her I was on board to do her fantasy proposal, yet I decided against it. I didn't want to plan some grand thing at my hometown beach just for the spectacle of it. I preferred doing something in a way I knew we'd both enjoy, in Hawaii especially. What really bugs me is that she said I made the trip seem like just another vacation, nothing special or out of the ordinary. This was literally our first ever vacation flight together. That same night, we had brunch, went parasailing, and enjoyed a wonderful dinner. Am I selfish for changing the proposal without consulting her? I don't understand why some people are calling me selfish for not doing what she wanted. I still did something that should, objectively, make any woman ecstatic. I think my focus now has shifted from wondering if it's okay for me to break up with her for turning me down to wanting to break up because of her overall ungratefulness. Another reason she gave for why it wasn't up to her expectations was because we were both dressed casually. She wanted me to give her prior notice that something special was going to happen by telling her to get glammed up. Note, to those asking why I couldn't propose the next day at sunset, another requirement for her proposal was for her dog to be there. She told me that right after saying it wasn't what she expected. She absolutely adores this dog and has always mentioned she wants him to be the ring bearer at our wedding. Sure, if it makes her happy, I really don't mind. The thing is, I had no idea she wanted that for the proposal, and obviously we didn't take the dog with us. It seemed like she was too focused on how she wanted the proposal rather than being excited about being with me. Final update. We had the breakup talk. My girlfriend has always been a bit self-centered. I've known that and have been able to tolerate it. About 4 months ago, she started going to therapy sessions. I don't know how long they last, what days they are, or what they talk about. I do know that she has become an entirely different person. She's been more compassionate and cooperative with me, which is what I've always wished for her to be, and this made me feel ready to fully commit to a life with her, hoping this new mentality is permanent. Anyway, she talked to her therapist and told me that she asked one question. Do you like surprises? She told her, of course she did. She explained that as her boyfriend, I most likely knew that and was trying to do something heartfelt and unscripted. No mariachi, no glamorous dress, no big letters, just the two of us. She further told her that if she truly felt in her heart that she wanted to live a life with me, all of the other superficial stuff shouldn't matter. She's apologized, telling me she really regrets doing that and assured me she would have said yes anyway. My biggest regret is that I'll never truly know what she would have said. Though in my gut, I'm not 100% sure she would have said yes. Her first thoughts during that moment were completely dismissive and disrespectful, something I feel, for once, I can't tolerate anymore. I've swallowed my pride way too many times in the past, and I'm standing my ground now. We should go through with it. I'll be sleeping on the couch, and she'll be packing her things tomorrow and moving in with her parents. Anyone want to guess the dog breed? I'm going with one of those miniaturized designer huskies. My first instinct is leaning towards something that fits in those designer purses she never uses. I'd say a Pomeranian. The dog comment was the nail in the coffin. I was somewhat sympathetic to OP's girlfriend not getting the proposal she wanted, even though it was shallow and showy and all about her. But if the proposal has to include the dog, just know, a bridge too far. I was kind of with her when I thought maybe she was just upset he couldn't be bothered to plan a date where they dress up and watch the sunset. But no, it was actually ridiculous. Sister-in-law inviting herself to bachelorette. Here's the thing. I'm marrying James next year, and his family is overall great. His brother Matt has been married to Paula for years, long before I ever came into the picture. Paula is a perfectly nice person. She and I get along well enough during holidays when we see each other, which is only once a year because James and I live across the country from his family. But outside of that, we don't talk. We're not close, and honestly, I'm totally fine with that. We're just very different people with different lives. We FaceTime James' family every Sunday because they all get together for dinner, and Paula usually pops in for a quick hi before wandering off to do her own thing. We'll exchange happy birthday texts, and sometimes she'll heart react a photo in the family group chat. That's the extent of our relationship. No bad vibes, just no real connection either. Anyway, I've been planning my bachelorette trip. We're skipping bridal parties altogether, so I invited 6 of my closest friends and family members. These are people I've known forever, who mean the world to me, and who all vibe really well together. I mentioned the trip in passing during a Sunday FaceTime, and James' family responded with something like, "Oh, that sounds fun." End of discussion, or so I thought. But the next morning, James is on the phone with Matt, and Matt casually drops, "Oh, Paula wanted to know if OP could send her the details for the bachelorette so she can get her flights and stuff." James was totally blindsided and just said, I'll talk to her." And then Matt moved on like it was nothing. Now I'm over here utterly baffled. Paula has never shown any interest in being closer to me, and I've never thought she wanted to be. Like, we see each other once a year. She didn't even text me when my dog passed, and I didn't hold that against her because, again, we're not close. I can't even imagine expecting to be invited to her bachelorette if the roles were reversed. It's just not our dynamic. The thing is, I don't want to invite her. I don't think she'd have fun. It's going to be a hiking-heavy trip and a place that's really nostalgic for me, and Paula isn't outdoorsy at all. She skips the family's Christmas walk every year, so I highly doubt she'd enjoy a weekend of trails and campfire nights. Plus, this trip is really meant to be a tight-knit group. The people coming are all super close to me, and we already know each other. Paula would be the odd one out, and I'd feel obligated to make sure she's comfortable the whole time. That's not the vibe I want for my bachelorette. What really gets me is that she didn't even reach out to me directly. She sent the request through Matt, which feels weird. I'd never dream of inviting myself to someone's bachelorette, let alone doing it via my husband. It's just so out of left field. Now we're heading to James' family for the holidays next week, and I'm dreading the awkwardness. I don't know if Paula's going to bring this up, or if she's just assuming I got the message and I'm handling it. Part of me wonders if I should just let it lie and wait and see if she says something. But then there's another part of me that thinks maybe I should be proactive and talk to her about it. The problem is, I don't know what I'd even say without coming off as rude or making her feel bad. There's also the nuclear option, inviting her just to keep the peace. But I can't shake how much I don't want to do that. This trip is supposed to be about celebrating with people I feel really connected to, and Paula just isn't one of them. Am I being a jerk for standing firm on this? I don't want to hurt her feelings, but I also don't want to compromise on something so personal. What would you do? I don't think you're being a jerk. I also don't think she's being a jerk. I think it's very sweet that she wants to be included or assumed she would be. It might just be a very innocent misunderstanding based on how it was talked about and where audio might have dropped on the call. Take the win in knowing you have a sister-in-law who would literally get on a plane to come celebrate you. That said, address this head on and be kind, and do not make it sound like you're doing her a favor by not inviting her. Oh, well, it's not your kind of activity. Instead, reach out and say, "Hey, James mentioned you were looking for bachelorette details for travel plans. I'm really sorry, but I think we had a misunderstanding. This feels awkward to address, but my bachelorette is just me and some of my closest friends. I hope you understand. It means a lot that you'd be willing to join, and I'm so lucky to be marrying into this family. I can't wait to see you at Christmas, or the wedding, or whenever we'll see you next." OP. Thank you. This is such helpful framing. I think this is a really good approach, and I'll try it. I'm going in full panic mode. I somehow didn't even think about the possibility of this just being a misunderstanding. On the call, my father-in-law mentioned a kayaking trip he took last year, and I said something like, "Oh, we just planned a kayaking day as part of my bachelorette." Everyone was like, "Oh, that'll be fun," and the conversation moved on. It was so mundane that I was totally taken off guard the next day. Update. After posting yesterday, I sat with my feelings and tried to figure out why I was having such a strong "I don't want to invite her" response, despite the fact that we've always gotten along well when we see each other. I came to the conclusion that the thing really bothering me was the indirectness of it all. I couldn't understand why Paula hadn't just reached out to me directly, and it made me worry that I had done something to make her feel like she couldn't. However, I also decided that it was more important for her to feel included than for me to have the perfect tight-knit group I had envisioned. Like everyone pointed out, it's just one weekend, and she'll presumably be in my life forever. So I called her yesterday evening, the first time either of us has ever called the other, and the conversation went like this. Me. Hi, Paula. I'm about to send out the bachelorette info, and I'm so excited that you'll be there. I just wanted to check in and make sure you know that you can totally reach out to me about things like this in the future. I hope I haven't done or said anything to make you feel like you couldn't, and if I have, I'd love for us to talk it through. Paula. Long, confused silence. That's really nice of you, but I think there's been some sort of miscommunication. I wasn't planning on coming to your bachelorette. Me, also confused. Oh, okay. I just thought since Matt asked me to send you the info. Paula. He what? Me. Confusion intensifies. Paula. I'm going to talk to him real quick. Let me call you right back. 10 very stressful minutes later, Paula called back and basically explained that Matt had gotten in his head about worrying that Paula was feeling hurt and left out, which she wasn't. She was like, no offense, but this trip sounds like my worst nightmare. He had the galaxy brain idea to parent trap us into thinking Paula was supposed to come on this trip instead of just talking to either of us directly. The end result is that Paula has no desire to come to the bachelorette and never did in the first place. Matt has apologized, and this has turned into the most in-depth conversation about our feelings that we've ever had. Paula and I are also going to get dinner over the holidays, which will be nice and hopefully give us a chance to get to know each other better. My boyfriend got me a huge surprise gift that I think ruined my Christmas. We've been together for 3 years now, and this is the first time we've really had the financial stability to do Christmas right. Really do Christmas. Growing up, I didn't have much to look forward to during the holidays. My family was chaotic and mistreating, with parents who were barely present, constantly fighting and breaking up. I had to grow up fast, taking care of my siblings while they worked and dealt with their own mess. But the holidays always seemed to bring some kind of fleeting happiness, even if it was temporary. Now, living across the country from our families, it's just us, so we've always made our own version of Christmas. This year, I was determined to make it special. We both got new jobs earlier in the year, and our bonuses totaled up to $1,500 combined. We budgeted for Christmas gifts, deciding to split it evenly. It seemed like a lot, but after going through a couple of financially tough years together, we both agreed it was time to treat ourselves. We listed everything we'd been going without: clothes, shoes, cologne, perfume, a rice cooker, new bedding, some things for our dog, and I thought we were on the same page. I bought him everything on his list and vice versa. Leading up to the holiday, we were both so excited. We spent November talking about our plans, sharing excitement for a low-key Christmas, staying in, cooking a big meal, maybe playing video games, just us. I thought it was clear. I really thought we were on the same page. But then last night, my boyfriend decided to give me my gift early, and it was a plane ticket for my kid sister. He had arranged for her to fly across the country and spend Christmas with us. Apparently, he had worked with my parents to send her here so we could all have a family Christmas. He also got her some gifts to open so she wouldn't feel left out. I was shocked. A huge part of my Christmas gift budget had gone to my sister's plane ticket and spending money. My boyfriend planned a whole week: Christmas movies, lights, activities, all for us plus her. Here's the thing. I love my sister, but this feels more like me being a parent to her than a partner in our holiday. For the past few years, I've had some independence from that role, and it felt like I was finally able to enjoy Christmas as myself. I was looking forward to getting some of the things I needed: warm clothes, shoes, a winter coat, some cosmetics, things that would help me feel like myself again after surviving so many tough years. When I confronted my boyfriend about this, I just started crying. I felt so betrayed. I knew he thought he was being thoughtful, but this couldn't have been further from what I wanted or needed. He told me I was being ungrateful and that he had tried his best to be thoughtful, but I can't shake this feeling that he completely missed the mark. This isn't what I wanted at all. I feel like my sister's trip has turned my Christmas into a babysitting experience. I'm responsible for giving her a kid's Christmas, which I've been doing my whole life. My boyfriend says we'll have fun as a family, but I just feel so disconnected from what I had envisioned for us. I've told him how much this has ruined my Christmas, and now I feel like I'm stuck, unable to undo it without upsetting my sister. Can someone please offer some insight on how to navigate this? I love my sister, but I don't know if I can accept this situation as thoughtful when it feels more like an obligation than a gift. So, I can understand your frustration, but what's really annoying me is that since he told you the surprise early, he might as well have asked if it's something you wanted in the first place before making the arrangements. I wish I knew what was best now after the fact. Part of me wants to say have him cancel her ticket. Part of me wants to say embrace it. Part of me wants him to still get the things on your list. I wish I knew the best solution, but I understand why you're upset, because now with every option, you will be painted as the bad guy. He told her in advance because he realized there is more to the gift than just paying for the ticket and coordinating with the parents. He wants to share the mental load by letting OP prep meals, prepare the arrival, etc., until he only just has to enjoy the dates that OP picked, by the way. I would be so disappointed, and I would let the boyfriend call, cancel, and take the blame. If he doesn't, that would be a huge red flag. I say return them all and tell him the money will now be used to house, feed, and take out your sister. Don't give him anything, OP. Sounds like he was trying to give you an amazing present that he thought you would love, and he was excited to tell you about it. I imagine his disappointment matches yours. He should understand, but both your disappointment and his genuine wish to please you with this can be true at the same time. People on Reddit tend to jump to the worst conclusions about people's motivations. Your boyfriend got this wrong. He assumed that spending time with your little sister would be the perfect thing for you, and it's not. But he didn't know that. Time for some good chats about how you're both feeling, because he'll also be gutted that he messed up when he thought he was being so great. It wouldn't be unreasonable of you to return some, not all, of his gifts and spend that money on nice things for yourself that you need, and save wearing and enjoying them until Christmas Day. I know you're disappointed and overwhelmed, but there will be other Christmases. Spending it with your sister isn't what you planned, but you won't be doing it alone. He can pull his finger out and help. And there might be some good times and new memories in store. Don't assume that he was being malicious. He just needs to learn better what you like and want. Today I messed up by accidentally starting a citywide scavenger hunt. So I work at this small indie bookstore and we often get donated used books. Last week I came across this stunning vintage copy of Treasure Island with these incredibly detailed illustrations. What really caught my attention though was a yellow piece of paper tucked inside. It looked like an old-timey treasure map with some cryptic clues scribbled on it. Figured it would be fun to post it on our local city subreddit as a bit of a joke, wondering if anyone knew what it was or what it meant. Well, that post blew up overnight. Like seriously blew up. Turns out those clues weren't just gibberish. They actually matched real landmarks and historic sites around our city. Old buildings, parks, cemeteries, and other places with a bit of local lore. I had no idea until people started recognizing the hints and deciphering them. Next thing I know, groups of people are forming teams, going on treasure hunts, and sharing their findings in the Discord they created. Local news even picked it up. There are now hundreds of folks scouring the city following these so-called clues. Here's the kicker. There is no treasure. The map was probably just some kid's school project from decades ago. I tried posting updates explaining that, but people just think I'm trying to throw them off the trail. Some guy showed up at the bookstore today wearing a fedora and accused me of being part of some secret society or something. He genuinely believed I was part of some elaborate scheme. The mayor's office even called asking about permits for treasure hunting on public property. I'm getting DMs from people claiming they've solved parts of the puzzle and demanding the next steps. Someone even started a GoFundMe to hire a professional cryptographer. I don't even know what to say anymore. At this point, I'm just waiting for someone to show up with a metal detector ready to start digging up our city streets. Plant a mirror with a message saying, "You were the treasure all along." My cheating ex is trying to get me to be a father to her affair partner's son after he ghosted them. Okay, to cut a long story short, I met my ex at a mutual friend's party. We got together. 6 months into the relationship, she got pregnant and had my son, Peter. When Peter was 1 year old, I caught her cheating with her friend. I found out later that they had been hooking up with each other on and off ever since we got together. I kicked her out. I was blindsided, not going to lie. She had no remorse for what she did. I wanted to completely cut her off, but I had Peter to consider. Despite her being a cheater, she's still a good mother. I'll give her that, and adored him. So for my son's sake, I reluctantly put away my pride and agreed to co-parent Peter. She moved in with a fair partner. She then announced that she was pregnant. I said good luck. She said there's a possibility I could be the father, as me and her were hooking up during the time she was cheating on me. We got the DNA test done, and I am not his father. It also got me worried about Peter, and I got him tested too. I was relieved to find out that he actually is mine. Anyway, on to the present. Peter is now 6 years old. His brother Daniel is 5. I didn't really have any interaction with Daniel, as my ex never really brought him with her when she dropped off Peter. But the times he was with her, he mostly just stayed in the car. My ex dropped Peter off to me, and she looked like she had been crying. Before I could ask if she was okay, she left. It was Peter who told me that Daniel's daddy hadn't come home for a long time, and his mother had been crying the whole time that he's been at her place. This bothered me, because I didn't want my son around their drama. I was going to talk to my ex about this when she showed up to pick up my son. When she did, she had Daniel, and he got out and ran to me and hugged my leg and said, "Hi, Daddy." I was a bit taken aback. I just awkwardly patted his head and gently told him, "I'm not your daddy, sorry." He looked at me confused and said that my ex told him I'm his new daddy. I looked at my ex and she avoided eye contact. I told Peter to show Daniel his room. Ex didn't say anything. When they went inside, I said, "What the heck are you telling this kid?" She broke down crying and said her affair partner had ghosted them a month ago and she doesn't even know where he is. Daniel had been asking where his dad is, so she told him that I'm his new dad. I got angry and told her I'm not his dad. She said, "But I can be, and that he needs a father." I told her to go find his real father then. She just kept crying and got into her car and left without Daniel. I tried calling her, but she wouldn't answer. Daniel came out asking where she went and he looked frightened. I told him that she'll be back and he started crying. In desperation, I called her parents and they showed up to pick up Daniel. I explained what happened and they apologized. I was angry, so I called my sister to tell her about it, and she said that was it really that much of a problem that I be there for him? He's innocent in all of this and he is Peter's brother. Just think about it. I hung up. Problem is, I have been thinking about it and it's really messing with my head. I know he's innocent, but it's not my job, is it? Don't invite that responsibility into your life. She messed around and now she's finding out. Sure, Daniel is innocent, but so are you. A lot of people are innocent. That doesn't mean they are our responsibility. Raising kids is expensive and takes a lot out of you. Plus, she sounds like a give an inch, take a mile kind of person. Don't give her anything. Doubtful she will stop messing around in the future, and if you take on her responsibilities, it will never end. Come on now, use your thinking brain. If you take on even an ounce of responsibility for him, she can have legal grounds to say you agreed to take care of both of them. Block out the noise and take care of your son. Her son is not your responsibility. Also, for everyone saying the kid is innocent in all of this, so are you. You did nothing to her. You didn't cheat, you didn't mistreat her, you didn't lie. She did. Stop letting people get in your head and focus on your son. And let her know that if she tries that again, there will be consequences. Am I the jerk for suggesting that we lock up the Christmas presents after what my niece did last year? Every year, my siblings and I, along with our families, spend Christmas with our parents. We stay at their house for a few days. Everyone opens gifts together. It's hectic, but it's a lot of fun. The kids enjoy having one big sleepover with their cousins. My mom likes having everyone home again. We all pitch in and it's a win-win. Well, last year, my brother married Sally. She has a 7-year-old daughter, Mindy. This was their first Christmas with us. It seemed like they were having a fun time. Christmas Eve, all the kids went to the finished basement to sleep. We told the kids to not open up gifts without us and to wake us up when they did. This was repeated several times. Once the kids were asleep, we put all the gifts under the tree and eventually we went to bed ourselves. The next morning around 6 a.m., I wake up early and head downstairs. I find the living room a mess. Half of the gifts were unwrapped. Several of them had been somebody got into those gifts. Several of them had been ripped from their boxes. There was Mindy playing with some of the toys. Most of the ones weren't even hers. She knows how to read and they were all labeled, so she knew this. I was in shock. I went and got my brother, Sally, alongside the rest of the adults. Sally was super embarrassed. My mom was very upset. The other kids weren't up yet, so we tried to salvage what we could while Sally talked to Mindy. Not everything could be fixed, and she had broken a couple of the toys completely. The broken ones weren't even her own toys. Luckily, not everything was damaged, and even the boxes that were, the kids didn't notice. But my nephew, my sister's son, had one of his big gifts destroyed, and he was sad when everyone else got theirs, while he was told he'd have to wait for a new one to come back in. Sally and my brother reimbursed everyone. Mindy didn't get to open gifts with everyone, but joined the festivities later. She apologized, but kept making excuses. She said she didn't want to wait, and she wanted to see what everyone else got. I bet she did. We're all preparing to go to my parents again this year. I put in the group chat that we should either lock the door to the living room this year or put a gate around the tree so no one can get to it. Like a doggy gate? I didn't mention specific names. I just said so that no one could get to the tree. Sally and my brother got mad, accusing me of treating Mindy like a baby or an animal. I said I'm not. But this is a precaution so none of the kids are tempted. They said this isn't necessary and I'm holding a mistake over Mindy's head. I said no, I'm not. I'm trying to make sure that we don't have a repeat here. Am I the jerk? I mean, why wouldn't you do this? It kind of isn't even about Mindy. Although of course it's about Mindy. She ruined Christmas and broke a lot of other people's toys. But you have a bunch of other kids who are notoriously bad with impulse control. Why not lock the door or put a gate around the tree? Any kid could be tempted by sleeping parents and gorgeously wrap presents under a lit tree. She's still only 7. Also, if your kid acts like a baby, they should be treated like one. Come on, Sally. The girl opened half the Christmas presents and you and your husband had to shell out to replace them. Wouldn't you rather lock the room than risk having to put out and feel embarrassed all over again? Not the jerk. Am I the jerk for canceling Christmas this year? Title says it all. I'm the sole provider for my family. All credit cards are maxed, negative bank balance, upcoming missed payments until my next check, basically destitute for the foreseeable future. My wife and I usually decorate on Black Friday, but this year I don't want to. The thought of putting up our fake tree, knowing I'll have nothing to put under it, fills me with such a mix of shame, anger, and pain. I would prefer to just let December pass and cut out as many things as I can until I get my finances under control. Plus, my daughter is 2. She won't know, care, or even remember one missed Christmas. So, am I the jerk? I'm already a failure as a husband and father, so what say you here? You're the jerk. Decorating with stuff you have won't cost anything, but you will make your wife happy. Christmas isn't about presents under the tree. It's the memories you make around the tree with the people that you love. Let her decorate if she wants to. You're also a jerk to yourself in this post. Listen, debt cripples people. It crushes them and spits them out, so it has room to gobble up another guy. You aren't a failure. You gotta be nicer to yourself, man. Good luck. No jerks here. But just because you don't have anything under the tree doesn't mean you can't celebrate. Don't celebrate the presents, or lack thereof. Celebrate the things you do have. A wife who loves you, a daughter who will be thrilled to just spend time with her father. No need to spend money to celebrate. There's absolutely no need to feel shame just because you can't afford things. Do this next. Tap here on your screen to come see our new podcast playlist, where you'll find thousands of hours of the best stories you've ever heard. Or tap the one on the right. That episode is specifically just for you, based on other videos you've enjoyed the most.